For this video I went to Blijdorp, that's Rotterdam Zoo. That zoo is clearly situated in the middle of the city. And I have to say, for a zoo that's in the middle of the city, they had really big enclosures. I really felt like they made an effort to give the animals as much space as they could give them, and also keep the number of animals per enclosure down. So they had relatively big setups for relatively small amounts of animals. Of course they had your typical zoo animals like lions and elephants, but I walked straight to the Amazonia because in here are some animals I really wanted to see. The Amazonia is a form of greenhouse. They did need to do some maintenance on their roof, which they had planned for the summer. And that's probably also the reason that there were no butterflies, while normally there will be a lot of them in here. Still, I always like to visit places like this. They have some nice paludariums and interesting plants. But the main reason I went to the Amazonia was for these. These are by far the biggest freshwater turtles I have ever seen. The pond these turtles were found in was pretty big. They were kept together with some bigger fishes, but again, as you can see, not a lot of animals compared to the space that they got. There were some big catfish, some stingrays, of course some pacu, and the famous arapaima. It's hard to describe how big these turtles were. I think their shell was between 50 to 70 centimeters long and their heads were absolutely massive. I have observed these turtles for a while and I have to say it was very obvious that they were mostly active around the glass window. So even though they had that big pond, most of the time they were swimming along the glass window, and I don't know if that is because they can see through the window and they are curious, or this is the place where they are fed, but it definitely was very obvious that the most activity was around this place. Before we leave this area, I will finish with some clips of these big arapaima. They were absolutely amazing, nice colors. I can't imagine how old these animals are. They must have been there for many years. You can see that those turtles compared to the arapaima, and yeah, these turtles were amazing. I don't know why, but I'm absolutely fascinated by crane birds. So they had two really cool species, And there were also some other cool birds, especially in the Victoria Garden. Victoria Garden is one of the older parts of the zoo. It was a bit of a botanical garden with a lot of interesting and old plants. And this area I really like because you could see they try to maintain some of the, historical parts of the zoo, but still providing what was needed for the animals. It's been a long time since I've seen these birds, absolutely stunning, and I was so surprised again by how curious they are. A lot of animals actually reacted quite curious on the camera and especially on the mic that's on top of it. These toucans of course are classical tropical birds, so it was really fun to see them.
Wij komen zo
It's very obvious that my interest goes out to the reptiles, the birds and the plants, but they also have some really interesting mammals. The other main reason I was here was a part called the Congo, and in this area they have probably one of my favorite mammals, the Okapis. I think these are absolutely incredible animals and I really like seeing these in real life. Here you could see the outdoor area for the okapis, but again temperatures were low, and if you go to the other section of the Congo you actually will find some other African mammals and reptiles. I remember in the past the Rotterdam Zoo had a lot of reptiles, at least that's how I remember it. They had a really big collection, also a lot of interesting turtles. Now most of the reptiles they have are relatively big species like these crocodiles and of course the Podocnemis. They also had a section with Komodo dragons, which was quite boring, I have to say, not really interesting, and also the terrariums they had, most were filled with only plants and not really any interesting reptiles anymore. Still was nice to see them. And the other big reptiles they have are found in the aquarium section. Behind these fogged windows you could see the amazing Galapagos tortoises. It was so cool to see these. In most zoos you see the Aldabra, so it was really nice to actually see these. I like the Galapagos, their looks and their shell a whole lot more as Aldabra. Don't know why, but it was really nice to see this. And I really hope one day to be able to see tortoises like this up close. I am gonna end this video with some footage of the aquarium. There's some really interesting fresh and saltwater animals. Also some really nice mammals. There is way more to see in this zoo. They have, for instance, a really interesting polar bear enclosure. Unfortunately, I did not have the time anymore to visit that area also. And again, my main reason to visit this zoo was actually the okapis and the giant expansas, and it was really cool to see them. If you like videos of me visiting places like this, then please let me know in the comments. And if you have been here too, what is your favorite part of the zoo? I sure found it an interesting zoo. It was not one of the best zoos, but also not a bad place to be or spend the day. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.
Bye.